And this is the final weekend of this very interesting English Open.
Yeah, we can start. Thank you. The first frame. Ishpreet, Singh, Chadha to break.
It's best of 11 in the semi-finals of the English Open. These two actually played in the first round last year. It was in qualifying. I don't know how many people were watching. It may just have been Ishpreet's mother and Yize's father. They're both here today, of course, with a lot more people, a lot more eyes on this match, and indeed mobile phones already going off. Hopefully that won't be a pattern. But yeah, all eyes on them, Neil, and what an occasion for both.
Yeah, very much so. It's hard to predict the four, as you can say. I suppose the other aspect of this, Ishpreet, very much a shock. Yize not so. Is it a shock that Neil Robertson's outside the 16? Yes. He's in action later today against Chris Wakelin, so one of those is going to pick up the Steve Davis Trophy. The four winners were all impressive in their own way, weren't they, yesterday? There's an argument that the best snooker played was by this man, I think, Yize, but I don't think I've seen a clearance on the positioning of the balls that Ishpreet made as good as that for a long time. It was extraordinary how he won last night, very late, not much time to think about it. It all adds up to an intriguing matchup here and at 7 o'clock tonight with Wakelin and Robertson.
6.
How well the red has come back to block the path of the black.
Is he going to take this long blue on? He does put an incredibly good ball. He's a bit unlucky, but the red has to go somewhere, and you're aware of that when you play that sort of a cannon. Don't think he's interested in going all in for the blue at this early stage.
Well, it's been very much a family affair. Wu's father is here, Ishpreet's mother is here. Neil Robertson last night had his son with him. Chris Wakelin revealed he's about to become a father. It's going to be a great story, whoever comes through tomorrow evening. But regardless of that, what a week these two have had already. Ishpreet Singh Chadha, the first Indian semi-finalist since 2013 in a ranking event. Of course, Yize are looking to join the list of Chinese players who've won ranking tournaments. I don't know how he slept after that drama last night. He must have been absolutely buzzing. What, as you say, a great clearance. Lovely scenes with his mother in tears as well. But now it's back to business, isn't it, this afternoon?
Yeah, that's the way sort of ranking events work. That you don't have a lot of time to sort of soak up all the glory. You're back on it unless it's the final, and then you have got plenty of time to think about it and enjoy it. That's why they're hard to win, because you have to keep coming back for more. Would be hard to be critical of Ishpreet at all, but he does hit a few of the shots too hard under pressure, and that brings about problems. But his mother enjoyed every moment of it, and why wouldn't she? It was wonderful last night.
Terrific pot again. Yeah, there's a new cloth on the table, so it'll be playing a bit differently to yesterday.
I think that the conditions, as we've spoken about enough actually, and they should be fine. There's a new cloth on, but I think certain players that come from amateur status from various parts of the world, you know, they wouldn't see a table like the one we've seen in here the last couple of days as badly as perhaps what they are used to in places in Asia, various countries. You know, conditions aren't always perfect. maybe some are more adept at getting used to it than others.
Yeah, and I think Joe Johnson made a good point as well. He made the point about players
Hello.
lower down the rankings who play a lot of snooker, like on the back tables with no one watching, love to be out in the middle, regardless of, you know, whether the table's playing absolutely as it should or not. This is just a great occasion, all that hard work these two put in, and they've got all these people watching them today. Yize are looking very confident already. It was a big win against Trump, having lost to him, of course, in Saudi Arabia the way he did.
Well, he sort of got into the cue ball on this brand new cloth
90.
and spun it towards the cushion more so than he meant to. And he's playing this red with topspin. Goodness, this is difficult. The pot and a way of landing on a colour. Oh, wow. Wow. Well,
21.
that is fantastic cueing. I mean, I can't tell you how difficult it is to hit a ball at that pace from the cushion and remain with full accuracy. Wonderful shot. This is a really good start. He looks terrific.
23.
Got his own back on Judd Trump yesterday, as you say. And hits the
24.
ball in a delightful way, actually.
Of course, they know each other well. They play at Ding's Academy in Sheffield. And the thing about these academies, they're a bit different to the old snooker clubs. It's kind of all business there. There's his dad watching on.
31.
Sort of fewer distractions in the academy setup than maybe the arguably more fun sort of environment of a snooker club. Just mindful of this brown, the referee having a close look.
Thirty-two.
Well, I don't think he's got a particularly useful angle on this pink, so it's a question of whether he can just leave the cue ball marginally to the right of the pink spot for the red that's sticking out. Yeah, that's what he tried. He may have held the spot, which isn't so bad if so. Goes fairly comfortably, but there is room to get to the red
38.
anyway. He plays left-handed almost with the same swing. Cue comes back just as far. It's becoming more part of the game, of course, but he's got that one a
39.
little wrong. He's very willing to play shots with their opposite hand these days.
Blue ball. Which one? Pink ball.
Slightly lost in translation there. He's nominated pink. Which he's not potted.
Knowing you're going to miss that to the top jaw
What is
because
that,
you're trying to hold for the
39?
red, it's the natural way of missing it is to hit it too much of it and hit it thick.
One.
Well, a lot of work to do here, but it's a chance he might not have got. Yeah, it's worth saying we've got a player from India, one from China, a referee from Bulgaria, but they're going to converse in English.
I mean, it'd be wonderful to say that India is a new country for snooker, but clearly it's not. The game was invented there,
8.
and we have had Indian professionals previously. Pankaj Advani, who's a wonderful billiard player. I remember playing Yasin Merchant, who was on the tour a while ago as well. Better known for billiards players, perhaps.
9.
One thing they didn't have
Please make sure your
at the
phones
Uti
are on
Club
silent.
in the 19th century when snooker was invented was mobile phones going off. That was one distraction they didn't have to worry about.
No, very good point.
Didn't get the cannon.
16.
Snooker, it was invented by British Army officers. Neville Chamberlain, not the British Prime Minister, but he became a colonel, was the man credited for it, although he didn't actually reveal that he was involved until he was in his 80s. He wrote to a newspaper because there had been discussion about how the game had been formed. Got a lot to thank him for.
Well, he
Ishpreet Singh, Chadha,
kind of
16.
moved the red out and slightly the brown, so even though he didn't make that many, providing he survives this next visit from Yize, he can still win this frame. But these are the kind of balls he knocks in at times. Looks to be playing safe, however. Interesting. Could have got to the left-hand red. The next step for any young player is not to just keep potting balls, because most of the time that's what youngsters do, but it's just, I suppose, just refusing the odd shot for using your discretion if you don't think you're going to get them.
Oh, anonymous.
There's no obvious reason why he should
Yize,
miss it
4.
altogether. He was clearly right behind it, but he was looking for the thinnest of contacts. I think he was hoping to get the cue ball in across to the right, maybe where the brown is, in behind there. And now he's faced with a second go, but from further away, and put back in. Looking for a thin contact. Again, the round has pushed even more into a potable place than it was. Frame is alive for sure, 34 in it. That's a good shot. I mean, it's just overrun because the table's quicker now, given it's got a new cloth, but he still played it nicely. The idea was good.
Yize has played in a semi-final before in Wuhan in China last year. It was that man again, Judd Trump, who beat him there. But clearly this is the biggest match his opponent's ever played.
Yeah, I mean, the win against Mark Selby's one of the most difficult players to beat. You know, right now he's probably not the best player in the world, although he's in the top flight. But he never made it easy for anyone he's played against Selby, and he didn't do so last night either. It's a good shot again.
Yeah, Chadha said that Selby's his snooker hero. He said he's seen every ball of every world final he's been in.
You know, you're in a bit of bother when you're using the spider straight into a cushion away from the ball you're trying to hit, but with the three reds where they are, it is a fairly big target, really. Should become adjacent to the reds or hit one. As if he's hit hard enough there. It's got to be a little bit in doubt.
Foul. Namaste. Yize 4.
Don't think the points are that relevant at this stage. You can afford a couple more of these, but not too many more than that, because 51 on the table, 38 the difference.
Foul. Namaste. Yize 4.
I think it's quite difficult with the spider, perhaps not so much the line, but to get the pace right. How do you get any touch or feel?
Well, these points do make a difference, because it now means Yize just needs red and colour as it stands to win this frame. Well, it was hard enough, but this time it wasn't online.
Yize 4.
The thing is, you can practice all kinds of things at snooker, but how many times are you going to practice getting out of a snooker with a spider like this? You just aren't. So you just got to find a way of hitting the ball. As I say, the target's big, but just what he's using is not making it any easier. Right over the top of this green.
Well, if he misses this time, he's got to hit it the next, otherwise he'll need a snooker. He's 46 behind, 51 on. So these points have mounted up. This looks better.
think that's what he played, cushion first. I don't think that Yize will be keen to disturb the two reds because, as Dave pointed out, he needs a loose red. He doesn't want to open the frame up anymore. So the red up the table it'll be. I don't know if the red will go past the blue. It must be mighty close. I think the blue probably is in the line. If it did go, he probably would have taken it on, I'd say. Yeah. Half a pocket less than that, probably. Needs to cover desperately. He looks very disappointed, so he's left the red, I think.
So 14 minutes without a pot. This is the one where Yize needs to effectively take the frame.
Good effort. The bottom red might actually cut in, and with the lead of 52 points, I don't know whether Ishpreet would carry on if it was still two reds left when he came back to the table. But now that red's gone, I can safely say Yize has won the first frame.
I think he's looked very confident right from the off here. He's every right to after yesterday. Neil Robertson, favourite of the four, of course, but 3 of the 4 favourites lost yesterday. And this young man very hungry to win his first title. Cue ball just stayed out.
14.
And again, just stayed out.
14 and the frame.
And that will do. Yize made that 39. There was a long safety battle that he won. He leads the first semi-final here in Brentwood, 1-0. 4 players have been ranked outside the top 16 since the 2019 Riga Masters. There's been a lot of tournaments since then. You think of Robertson, of course, as being a top 16 player, but he's trying to get back in, of course, this weekend.
Really good cueing, and just what he needed, I think. An early in here. There are a few moving parts in his cue action. He's up quickly from every shot. Sometimes you can get the impression when your opponent is up quickly that they've missed, but sometimes with Ishpreet, it's not like that at all. He wants to get sort of on with the next shot. Now taking on the blue, so the played on a bulk colour doesn't knock the angle on the green much.
Six. Seven.
Match best of 11, so they are long matches. You know, it's a one-session match, but it's a very potentially long one-session match. Sometimes get, you know, a long duration session of snooker in these matches, and it gets quite tense towards the end if it goes deep. Not at that stage, of course. And last night was as tense as it gets, you feel, in this Brentwood Centre.
He's used to the pressure of competition, of course. He used to be big into esports, quite successful in India as part of a team. That was not so successful, though.
No, he looks down the line, and he didn't have a very big angle. He tried to, I think, nick a bit of the pocket, swing the cue wide, but of course, if he hit it at that speed, and he really give it a clump, to be honest, the pocket's not going to be very forgiving.
Credit to the staff here, who, of course, had to wait until gone midnight for that semi-final, quarter-final to finish to reconfigure the arena. Not a straightforward job. Table fitters had to move in as well.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has ever watched the process of assembling a table, putting the slates together and putting the cloth across. It's a really difficult job, hard work. Just looking at those 5 reds in the bunch, if he was to play safe off those, would anything be pushed close to a pocket?
Well, it's now an open table, so safety so important here.
Might be able to get through to the reds close to the pocket here. Played that at a nice pace. If you put any more pace into it with topspin, the cue ball invariably doesn't go anywhere. It starts to spin back, but judged it nicely.
Six. Seven.
You look at a table like this and you wonder
30.
how many could be made. It's hard to think that he could make a substantial break. All the reds on the left cushion. But enough
40.
to make it a telling one, I think. Chance to get 35 or 40 would be really handy in a frame of this kind.
And there's his dad. We saw him yesterday. He's quite brave, I think, to watch in the arena, because you have to watch. You can't sort of, even for a minute, have a walkabout. Ken Doherty's mother, even when he was in the World Final, she just was too nervous to watch him. She actually went out on the night that he was playing Stephen Hendry, the final night, because she was just so anxious. Bumped into a friend of hers in town who told her he'd won it.
21.
Well, not a great shot. He gave it a lot of care and attention, but the cue was not really
27.
nicely on a red. Rather an odd shot, the one before.
Where's
He's finished kind of on nothing, really, without ever looking like he'd misjudged the previous shot very much. He played into an area where not anything was easy. Fairly troublesome, isn't it? The reds are in view, but to get back away from them, not easy. Put distance between them. I don't see how he does that. Can he seemingly roll up towards the reds?
Foul. And I miss. Ishpreet Singh, Chadha 4.
Couldn't have got much closer, could he? But he's got to, with so many reds on the table, 8 of them, you've got to hit one. Deshislava Boshalova, referee. Wow. Try doing
And I
that.
miss. Ishpreet Singh, Chadha 4.
Miraculously, no red was hit there. I mean, you could have hit about 3 or 4 different reds. It's nestled right into an area there without hitting anything. A miss is always going to be called, and you might think, well, hang on, how can that be a miss when you've nearly hit all these reds? But the target is huge, and that's why the miss rule exists, basically.
Well, I assume he can see a red down the left-hand side here, which means he has to hit one this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think there has to be a warning, doesn't there?
If you've got a full ball contact, then third time you have to hit one.
If you miss again, you would lose the frame.
Yeah. Very stark warning, that wasn't it? If you miss again, you'll lose the frame.
It's the harsh reality of the situation, isn't it? Yeah, and that's why Ishpreet had to have it put back, because he was looking at a red to middle or something like that, and now he's got a clear red. The only approach Yize could make on that last shot was to make sure he hit a red, nothing else. Don't want to be giving frames to your opponent in a match like this. And the 3 strikes rule.
6.
Well, he's looking at some kind of attempt to bring the black into play, or certainly free the black from the reds next to it. Oh dear.
7.
Sometimes he's almost better to just hit them with a bit of pace and chance your arm. He went a bit delicate on that shot and didn't really get very far with it.
Bramble.
I think he's pretty conscious that he wants to be
Ishpreet
involved in
Chadha,
a
7.
match where he makes things very difficult for Yize. If it was an open, free-scoring match, you mightn't see which way Yize went. He's that sort of player. Well, he knocks everything in. Yes, he can get right through to the red here. Look at that. Definitely went clearly. Wasn't that dissimilar to the green at the other end of the table that he knocked in at the end of the framing, clearing up to beat Mark Selby?
Sort of feels like a frame at the end of a match rather than frame 2 of the match. Got a little scrappy, a little tense. I think Chadha certainly needs a frame where he can, and he's had the chance already in this one, but just make a nice break. His highest break only 16 so far. It's a good pot though.
Yes, and that cue ball's just run on nicely for the pink, and that red by the black. He might play on and free the black up, which he's been trying to do for a few shots now. Yeah, well played. Little nudge.
7.
Well, this, I don't know, I'm not saying it's the same one, but this flying visitor's bedeviled the tournament all week, actually. Just put him off at the last moment.
Yeah, he was almost at the point of bringing the cue back to hit the ball, wasn't he? When he was stopped.
Well, we'll never know if he'd have potted it or not initially,
Ishpreet
but
Singh, Chadha 7.
all of that didn't help his concentration.
He's trying very hard, isn't he? He's not really in the match yet, because he didn't finish until very late last night. It's not an excuse, because that's how these events work, but maybe he hasn't entirely left yesterday's match behind him. He came in very positively, of course. He'd have had press to do and all of that. He's been saying all the right things, but he might not quite be there yet. It might take him a bit longer to really feel like he's in this semi-final. Trying ever so hard.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule is what it is, but I guess he might have preferred to play tonight.
Just get the feeling after that last move we may not get any more interruptions from that insect, because it might be all over.
At least we don't have the Ali Pali wasp to worry about. It was that year when extraordinary scenes where it landed on Mark Williams, it landed on one of the cameramen, and Marcel Eckhart, the marker, was sort of furiously trying to get it off him.
Yeah, I remember that. It felt like it was a long way removed from actual snooker, didn't it, that little interlude?
Of course, at the Crucible a few years ago, we had a pigeon interrupt play. So we've seen all sorts down the years.
Not proving to be a frame with any free-flowing scoring or anything like that, but of course Yize could carve out a 2-0 lead without ever playing very well. He would be pleased. Ishpreet, of course, needs to just zone in on this match. He's doing his best, but it's not happening yet. He does that thing on that shot where he leaps up after he's hit the ball as if you think something's gone horribly wrong with the shot, but he's not. It's just his general way of playing. Comes away from the shot ever so quickly. Doesn't really want to take any risks, the red by the pink he could take on. But he's lining up to hit that ball anyway. Whether he's going for this, I don't know. Wow, what a thumping pot. When you see how he can pot, you wonder how it would be. You know, I'm sure there must be the temptation to go for everything, because he pots some incredible balls at pace. It's not quite how to play, but it's a brilliant pot. But for a very acute red to middle, it might be end of break. A very narrow pocket opening from there.
Boys, 3.
I think you'll count yourself unlucky to have left that red, because he got the cue ball back very nicely.
One.
Yeah, that might be the most important mistake he's made in this frame.
Bing ball.
Well, he will need the safe red on the side cushion. This is the thing when you get a scrappy frame, balls can go anywhere, really.
Yeah, and I was wondering, I mean, I don't know if he will think of it, but he could knock the red out here off this red. But of course, when he's got a colour to play next,
7.
you've got to get the right cannon and get the cue ball out of the area where the red was. He's played it, but of course you compromise position like
8.
that.
As you saw, a half-hour
14.
frame, but Yize with a chance to win it now. Won't need the brown on the side cushion.
guess you either want to hit the red full ball, or you want to miss it altogether on those shots. He just caught the top half of it. Handy lead. If he plays the pot, it's unavoidable that he'll go into the pink. It's a question of what happens then. And of course the pot is not simple. It's ever such a good pot, isn't it? Just now the blue, this kind of range where he seems so dangerous. He'll need blue, yellow and green. And now taking a look at the pink. Oh, goodness me, I think that was a daddy long legs or something there. I mean,
Well, it's less a semi-final, more a bush tucker trial.
Unbelievable, isn't it? To be honest, I didn't want to put the jinx on the way he plays, but I mean, that sort of mid-range straight ball, I just think he's as good as anybody at those. That sort of pendulum swing cue action, he's really dangerous when he can get his hand on the table.
Yeah, he's got a real authority, hasn't he, about the way he knocks these in. And, OK, it's not been breaks, it's not been a faulty break, actually, but he's been the better of the two. Ishpreet Singh Chadha's had a few hard chances, hasn't quite settled yet. Maybe that's inevitable after last night. So Yize with a chance to pull away in the early stages here and get him bang under pressure. 28 the lead, 22 on.
Yize, 33.
Has to carry on, doesn't he? Because maybe taking it down to the pink and black to get the one snooker to tie, which it would be a 6-point penalty.
This is where Yize needs to show discipline, not do anything daft. Got him in a snooker, so that's quite disciplined. A few noises off. Oh, is he going to get there?
Foul.
No, so
Yize,
it looks like end of frame. Yeah, he did the gentlemanly thing and allowed Yize to play his shot, but there's nowhere back from here. Long frame that, 34 minutes, but it's been won by Yize, who leads 2-0. Who is hoping to become only the second Indian player to reach a ranking final. Yize would be the 14th from China to reach a ranking final. There have been 6 Chinese ranking event winners.
Well, that's not a very good second kiss there, and now this is a clear-cut chance for Ishpreet to just get some kind of a foothold in the match. I don't suppose he'll set his heights that highly at this stage. Just get in and get a few reds and blacks, whatever. Start your campaign.
1. Eight.
Yeah, he's got a good chance here to do exactly what he's been looking to, which is just pot a few, just stay on that table and just get his cue on going and get involved in this semi-final.
9.
Of course, he came through at the start of last season through the Asian Oceania Q School. So there's a Q School in the UK, but there's one based out in Asia as well for players from that region. He came through the second event there, had to win a lot of matches, 6 in total. And he said himself he wasn't sure entering it whether he was quite ready, but the fact is he got through and then was immediately thrust onto the World Snooker Tour. Had some good results last season. He beat Stuart Bingham, he beat Luca Brissell in various events. Had quite a few first-round exits as well, but has just built himself into life as a professional, been learning as he's gone along, and this week, of course, it's all clicked.
Twenty-two. 23.
He does have a nice touch. I noticed it in the deciding frame last night against Mark Selby. Not always necessarily when he cleared up to win, but a few of the little snookers he laid on Mark. You know, the master tactician that Mark is, I think he surprised him with his touch around the table, playing nice little snookers and
30.
nudges. Here he gets plenty of work on the ball. Cloths have been recovered on this table, so it's clearly more responsive to good play like that. And it's fairly quick as well. It's a beautiful positional shot.
Thirty-six. 37. 40.
Nudging another red out here, so real frame winning opportunity now. He made a century, of course, last night in taking that 3-0 lead over Selby. He's beaten some real good players as well. Graham Dott, former world champion. Jack Jones, of course, the world championship runner-up last season. Hossein Vafai from Iran. Ergo Chang, who beat Ronnie O'Sullivan here this week. And of course Selby last night.
52.
I don't think that's too bad.
Seven.
You know, it looked like there was not much future in playing down that channel, but it's sort of the red will go that he's closest to, and there is another red that pots to the same pocket at the bottom of the bunch. Well, that'll be a bitter disappointment to him. That really will, because he's starting to make good strides in not only the frame but in the match if he goes on and wins the frame in one visit there. And he did everything but drop, as you can see, and he's really annoyed. Getting a bit hot under the collar, isn't he? And of course, he could go on and lose his frame now from a position of real strength, and that would hurt even more than what the break might have amounted to.
Yeah, it's one thing to lose a frame where you haven't really had much of a look in, but he was starting to boss this one.
When he goes to play it left-handed, he's going to play a big screw shot here, I think. Goodness, he looks virtually the same player, doesn't he, with his opposite hand.
3.
Ishpreet will be
Yize.
very relieved at that, because that was a real moment in the match if he could go on and win the frame. That pocket isn't very big. Both the last two balls played into it rattled quite a lot. Well, it doesn't really fill you with much confidence to play the red below the black now into that same pocket that he can reach. I think if you hit them right, they will go in. Interesting choice. I felt that he was kind of winding himself up to go for it. Very dangerous shot. But he's played too cleverly all week to just throw it away there. Now, what if those two reds can be made into a plant? It would completely open up the whole table, really, if that was the case. It might be worth the risk, but it's obviously not easy. Very thin contact on the first red to chip the second one in. Could be away then.
1.
Well, there's a lot more riding on this black now with the red over the middle. It's very awkward, but isn't it a big shot, this? Well, the sky's the limit. You know, he could go on very comfortably and win this frame. There's, if you're Ishpreet, Singh, Chadha in your chair, you're looking for something to help you and say, well, he's still got to pot this or that, but there's nothing out. Anything but in the middle of the table here. Not a safe ball. What a miss.
Boys, 8.
What a miss.
It's amazing after the black he potted when he was hampered. This was much easier, wasn't it? But, you know, potted it. Maybe just slightly eased upon the concentration. What a relief for Chadha. Comes to the table 46 in front, with a golden chance now to win his first frame. Well, we might look back on that later, maybe, as a key moment, because that was a chance to make the clearance for 3-0. A good chance. And really put distance between him and his opponent.
Yeah, I mean, no clearance is easy, but that was easier than most you'll see. There wasn't anything remotely difficult about the balls at this standard.
But, yeah,
Ishpreet,
well,
Singh, Chadha, 4.
a sort of rueful look on his mother's face, but, well, he'll be feeling worse now, because he's seen Yize and miss. Yize has not won the frame yet, but he's been given another opportunity to do exactly that. And potentially forget about his own unexpected mistake.
1.
Just wonder how even Yize is feeling because of that last miss. Can he bounce back very quickly? Don't think expected to get a second opportunity.
Eight. 9. 16. 17.
Well, consciously leaving a high angle, but he actually might be slightly hampered by the other red now, or the last red. Yeah. A little tricky, this. It's the best shot he's played today for me. Pot wasn't simple, position, very delicate shot. He cannot believe that
24.
he squandered 2 or even 3 wonderful chances. Sitting there, he started finding it hard to watch.
$25.
Frame is very much slipping away if it hasn't already slipped away.
Yeah, and if Yize can now make this clearance, then of course he can just forget about his own mistake. It could have been very psychologically significant, but it won't be if it goes 3-0 here, and he's got the colours basically on their spots.
29. 31. 34.
It's horrible in that chair, isn't it? I mean, to think about what's happened.
38.
Replay the shots in your mind, but he's also having to watch this man knocking them in.
43. $49.
Yize looked like he'd thrown the frame away, missed a red to this pocket. But got another chance and has taken out the clearance. It feels like a big one. He's halfway towards a place in the final. Ishpreet Singh Chadha with it all to do. He trails 3-0. In this match, get on the scoreboard, going to the interval. If not, it's a long way back. And Yize, from his perspective, he could have been made to really dwell on that unexpected miss, but he got another chance and made the clearance, so he can forget about that now. It's uncharted territory for both, of course, trying to reach a final. Yize has been in a semi-final before, but he didn't really get a look in against Judd Trump, who beat him 6-1 in Wuhan in China last year. So to be leading in a major semi-final, it's huge for him. And of course, Chadha, it's the furthest he's ever got in a tournament.
Well, that's not a very good shot, because he's not contained the situation there. Tried to get that cue ball underneath the black cushion. It's way short. Left a red on. Maybe the last frame knocked the stuffing out of him a bit, and it would have been getting him into the match.
One.
It's not too bad.
That picture just illustrates how serious this event has become now. All the other tables have gone. All the other players have gone, other than Robertson and Wakelin. And it's worth reiterating what a springboard it would be to win the tournament. Obviously, the 100,000 is great, the rankings boost, but Champion of Champions, Players Series, if you get in the top 16, of course, chance to be seeded at the UK Championship, chance to be in the Masters. So financially, it would be worth a lot more than just the 100,000, even though that would be most welcome.
$11. 12. $90.
Yes, he was just looking at the pink spot and the availability of it when he pots it here, whether it goes on his own spot or behind, because the others are all occupied.
26. $27.
He's got the angle to break the reds open if that's what he chooses to do. Probably going to need to at some point, and he might get a better chance than this. Well, not too bad with the red to left middle. He'd rather be on something into a corner pocket, obviously.
32.
Didn't go into them with a huge amount of pace, but he's disturbed enough reds. It's all good if the next red goes in. Got the feeling he didn't really want to play it, even though he had probably no choice. It was something about the shot he didn't like. The fact that he was trying to hold for the black is again why he missed it at the top jaw, hitting it thick, but playing down the table might have been better for him if he could, for a lower value colour. So this chance has turned up from somewhere near nowhere. And he'd feel a lot better if he could steal this frame. It's all about getting something on the board, and he's managed not to do that yet. Oh no, oh no, no, no. That was the worst ball I've seen him hit the whole time I've been here.
Ishpreet Singh, Chadha.
He didn't get anywhere near it. I think he's got a very jabby follow through on that. What happened there, I wonder?
Yeah, I mean, it might be after the last frame he's thinking, I've got a chance, I've really got to take it, and he's almost just too anxious as he sort of goes about things.
1.
It's gone wrong, though.
Light ball.
He's going to play it. It's quite thin.
Boys, 1.
You feel like Chadha needs the interval now just to get his head together.
It's another shot that's been missed by a long way. The last couple. Gone to pieces, nowhere near this. I mean, look how far away that is from the pocket. Well, there are certainly shots that Yize doesn't like. That last black was very thin. He's got this expansive backswing when he doesn't really need it. But on those shots, he probably might as well just give him those mid-range shots. He knocks them in for fun.
Well, he's got a sense of massive chance now. His opponent's struggling badly, as I say, needs the interval. Yize determined that it'll be 4-0 at the interval. It's amazing how quickly in this sport, in any sport, emotions can change from the highs of last night to the realities that it's a difficult game when there's a lot of pressure on. And if you start to struggle, it's hard to sort of shake yourself out of it.
5.
Yize, let's be honest, hasn't been at his absolute best either, but he's been the better of the two. He won that crunch third frame, and he's already 37 in front here in the fourth.
Even then, he's making somewhat hard work of these good chances here. It's quite ragged now, isn't it, this match? You feel that Yize should just stride off and win it comfortably. But it's not something he's ever really been in this position. You know he's an extremely talented player. He's got to sort of join the dots up a little bit here, hasn't he, with the kind of occasion it is. As for Ishpreet,
1.
he's got to dig deep and win this frame against maybe how he's feeling right now.
Well, certainly Yize has had more than enough chances for 4-0. So in fact this frame's still going. Maybe a moment of concern for him. Just didn't quite get top side of the blue, so he's looking at the brown.
Yeah, and this pink is slightly awkwardly placed next to the red. Making it not an easy shot for pot or position. At the moment, I don't fancy him to put anything difficult.
Ishpreet Singh, Chadha, 5.
Yeah, I couldn't have been more impressed with him last night. You know, some of the balls he potted under all kinds of pressure were superb. Today, it's been like a different day, different player.
Made that 57 in the last frame, of course, didn't win it. Yeah, I think Yize, though, if it's not 4-0, would be very disappointed. He's clearly massively on top psychologically. He's got to try and nail this frame, because if you sort of hold the door open, then your opponent will come through it.
Yeah, but even that shot, he's hit much too much of the red, leaving Yize at this dangerous range again. He isn't ever going to miss those, it seems. Whatever's gone before.
Yeah, so it's looking for all the world like 4-0.
6.
And whatever mistakes he's made, he doesn't need to think about. This is a dream start in terms of the scoreline. Chadha will have the 15-minute interval, and we know from long experience that can make a big difference to the player trailing. But if he does come out 4-0 down, clearly frame 5 when they resume, he's going to have to win. He's going to have to try and get this man under pressure. I guess the one thing in his favour is they're both looking to reach their first final, so there is pressure on. There's pressure on here as well, because he's not on this black.
7.
So he's making a little bit of a meal of this frame. Still not over the line yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure he can win it at this scoring visit now. Pink would mean there was 50 in it with 51 on. Where would he put the next red from? He'd probably better off putting the pink on the cushion here. At least he's thinking correctly along those lines. the value of the points is
With a 7.
not as great as just putting a high-value colour safe.
It's ended up good, actually, for Yize of that. Looks like he's covered certainly the 2 reds near the top cushion.
Foul. Anonymous. With a 4.
May have been an argument not to put him back in there and leave the brown on the cushion where it was and ask him to play from where the ball's landed. Could have been something he did. That would have been just another ball that Ishpreet didn't want near close to a cushion that would have been there. Either way, no, both scenarios are not great for the Indian player. He's all out to get something happening for him here.
Got to hit a red this time, otherwise he needs a snooker himself.
Yeah, which means he must go the other way and hit too much of it if possible. Anything but missing again. Yeah, it's been a not so much a nightmare session because, as you say, knocked in that half-century break. It's the highest, but it didn't win in the frame.
Yeah, I mean, that 3rd frame was the key one. It could have been the start of something. It's actually psychologically been so significant, the fact he didn't kill it off. He hasn't looked at all right in this frame. He needs the interval, but when the interval comes, he's going to be 4-0 down.
8.
And Yize, surely, he's only growing in confidence every frame he wins. He's looked confident from the off. He hasn't played flawlessly, but he's been the better of the 2 for sure. And when they come back after the interval, he will need 2 frames to reach
16.
a maiden ranking event final at the age of 20. We saw him when he was 16. He was a wild card in one of the ranking events, the International Championship, and took John Higgins to a decider, and a lot of people sat up and took notice then of an emerging talent. It does take a bit of time, but that's only, what, 4 years ago?
20.
5 years ago, and here he is, changing hands as well. Still knocking them in on the big stage.
Well, he decided to play that shot left-handed as well. Don't know quite why. Maybe he's seen someone else do it.
What's happened since all of that, hasn't it? It's been a very memorable tournament. It's building up to a fascinating climax. Yize looking good to be here tomorrow.
34.
Unless this man, Ishpreet Singh Chadha, can provide some more drama like he did last night. Of course, he was in front in that match. Selby came back. This is the opposite. He needs to mount a comeback himself because he's been outplayed here. Yize goes to the interval in the first semi-final of the English Open with a very commanding lead, 4-0. And when they come back in 15 minutes' time, he will need just 2 to take on Neil Robertson.
Ishpreet Singh Chadha to break.
Well, certainly Ishpreet Singh Chadha needed the interval there. He was struggling badly. Let's see, though, if there's going to be any change, because he's in big trouble. He trails 4-0. Yize needs 2 to reach his first ranking final. Big moments for him. "97 minutes or so playing time. Yize are at 88% pot success, but Chadha down at 81. And whatever mistakes Yize has made, and it's not been flawless, doesn't matter. He's 4-0 up.
It's quite a good break-off shot. He just put a bit of trouble the way of Yize, but he's played a nice shot back there. I know he's hit a few balls on the way through, but it was quite well directed. Yes, Ishpreet was having a practice. He was trying to find the magic that had got him here. Yeah, sometimes those 15 minutes, there isn't much you can do. It's hard to think you could just turn it all around on the practice table, but it's just a habit, really, isn't it, to go in there and hit balls. He's got this tendency to slightly overhit. I mean, that shot, he had to hit it with a bit of pace, but he does hit the balls a bit harder than maybe other players might that are on the tour.
Well, if there's going to be a comeback, maybe this is where it will start. This red not in. At least he's got out of that arena, as Alan was saying, you know, and Jimmy, just all eyes on you when you're struggling is not a nice experience. So he's had a little bit of time, 15 minutes, to collect his thoughts away from all this attention.
I don't know whether he can get through to the black. He's looking at it, but I don't think there's enough of it to pot. He could really do with a one visit frame, but I mean, there's never been a set of circumstances where any player hasn't wanted to do that, even if you're 10-0 up in a match. But you know, it would certainly restore some confidence. Now, is he going to? I think he might be taking on this green. He's sort of winding up to go for this, coming down towards all the reds.
Yeah, and getting good support as well from this Brentford crowd who want to see him make a fight of it.
4.
I tell you what, there wasn't the most favourable kiss, that, on the blue. You know, he's coming round towards any number of reds that might have been on. The one he's ended up playing here, He's very missable now. Goodness, this is not a nice shot.
Yes, every credit. I mean, there's 3 balls there he's potted. He may well have missed before the interval, but he's knocked them in. Let's see if he can get back now amongst the reds here and put something together.
Seven.
Well, his mother has been there through his whole career so far and will continue to be, regardless of what happens here.
8.
Now, if you could get on that left-hand red in open play, I don't know whether from further down than last time the black will pot to the right corner or whether it's completely blocked off into that pocket by the red above it. Could be that he's now coming to do exactly that. Is there any way that the black will go? It wouldn't when he was high on it about 3 or 4 shots ago. That's when he launched into the green as an alternative. I mean, from where the red is now, if you stunned it dead, would the black be potable?
13.
Is there room to pot it?
Fourteen.
I think your answer was evident in that last shot. It will go. Yeah, there's room.
So he's found his way to the black.
21.
Of course, he was going well in frame 3. He was on 57, just didn't kill things off. Even if he doesn't win today, I'm sure he'll learn from this. Sean Murphy, great player. First semi-final was 2004 British Open. He lost 6-0 to John Higgins. It was a proper battering. A few months later, he won the World Championship. I'm not saying that will happen to Ishpreet here, but the point is you learn sometimes from the real defeats and the real disappointments. Anyway, he's not out yet.
$29.
Well, I don't think it will go, but left-hand side, I think the red that might be in the way is so close to the cue ball, it might help on this shot. I'm not saying he can get it, but he might be able to just play a bit of left-hand side, push it round the first ball and back onto the red to pot it. Get behind the pocket, you'll see it in the best view. It's quite tight, to be honest. Oh, he's using the spider. Oh dear, I wouldn't be using that. That might swerve it too much. All credit, though. All credit. His methods are good. His methods are good. It was well executed in the end. Bit more like it, isn't it? And we know what he can do. I mean, he's had such terrific wins all week. Not least last night, but
37.
you know, also the Hossein victory, Hossein Vafai and CJW, all these players have been in such good form. He's got stuck into all of the matches.
38.
Yeah, and I think the green he took on at the start of this frame was a bit of a statement that he's not going to go into his shell. He's going to go for it. You know, had he missed that, he could be 5-0 down, but he didn't, and he's still going with a really good opportunity now to win his first frame, and who knows after that what could happen.
45.
Been enough drama this week to know that it's not done till it's done.
46.
Well.
Ishpreet Singh, Chadha, 46.
Emphasis on steering that cue ball into an area where the red is on, but I'm afraid the pot was priority. And also he didn't even get good position. As you can see, this is a horrid shot that we use his face with here. Certainly get the elevation on those shots to bridge over the ball. No prizes here. Tight in behind the brown. And
Boys, 1.
assuming that there is no gap through between the yellow and brown ball that both referee and Yize are looking through. Shouldn't be a gap. Seems there is one. I think Yize with the expansive backswing on a lot of shots probably wouldn't be the best player in the world at just dropping in behind a ball. He's looking at whether it goes. I mean, the answer is it definitely goes. The black might be in the way of full pocket. Saw Karen Wilson put a black into that pocket, and it was the black. There was the ball in the way was closer to this than this one. So there was plenty of room, as we see.
Well, work to do, but this frame could well have been Chadha's. Mr. Black, of course, when he was nicely in.
Eight.
I thought it was interesting in the interview that the Tai Shengzi, the photographer, did for us in Chinese with him. He mentioned the criticism that he'd heard about losing to Trump from 4-0 up. So I think that's why it was such an important win yesterday. He got the job done. Must have been a real confidence boost. So now this frame is all about that red on the cushion.
16.
Well, I didn't think he deserved to be criticised for that defeat, really. I mean, if that's what the suggestion was, I think he had a chance to win it 5-0 and get Judd Trump out very quickly, but once he couldn't manage that, the chances were not there from what I saw of that match. But whichever way you look at it, he got his own back this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that was sort of media or social media or whatever, but he clearly registered with him. But anyway, that's all gone.
There is a lesson in it, though. You know, his opponent sitting in the chair is not Judd Trump today, but you've got to really put players away, and all the greats have done that. You know, 4-0 up, he can't afford to just ease down a bit. He's got to get this match won as swiftly and as easily as possible. So I think he played the black for reasons that he will be able to move the other red here, the left-hand red, in potting this red. Surely what he's going to attempt. It's always the problem on that shot, the double kiss. If you hit too much of the ball you're trying to crash into.
Stage 5. With stage 5.
Well, it surely would have been frame over had that gone in, but it hasn't, but it's run safe.
Yeah, that's quite a nice shot. He didn't look much, but saw a few of those little touches last night against Mark Selby in that deciding frame.
Wow. As if he needed any good fortune leading 4-0.
He's gone in like a rocket. He's made great contact with it, but as good as he is, to pot the ball would not have been something he had any knowledge of. But you have to take it, and now he has to mop up what's remaining and ride the luck.
Well, this is clearly the key shot now, this yellow from distance. If he nails this, it's looking like 5-0. Little fly just in his eye line there. Which is not ideal on a shot of this importance.
No, but it comes back to what we say. I mean, these sort of shots he seems incredibly good at. It would have to be something that almost distracted him to stop him. This kind of mid-range. Fortunately, he was in stroke, and now he's been asked to regroup and do it all again. Just doesn't look like missing anything from that kind of mid-range. He's actually lethal on those shots. I mean, it just flew into the smack in the middle of the pocket, that yellow.
Well, Ishpreet, he put him in a snooker. It was, as you said at the time, a nice shot he played. But he did, let's be honest, have a chance in this frame. He missed that black earlier. Rather rueful look on his face.
Well, it's true, isn't it? You get punished in a way. I mean, he missed the black, and then the kick in the teeth is the snooker escape.
Pink for 5-0. Big moments. Yize fluking the last red out of a snooker and then making the clearance. He's won from the English Open final. Obviously the flute was big, but so was the miss black from Chadha before that. So Yize needs one more, and then he can put his feet up until tomorrow and see whether he'll play Neil Robertson or Chris Wakelin in the final of the English Open. That, of course, was the black last night, and the scenes, his mother in tears, the last black against Mark Selby.
Well, I wonder if that could be it. It's very early to say, and the Yize has not really been winning frames in one visit. Highest break so far, 56. It's just not been their day, has it?
One.
Yize has relinquished a 4-0 advantage against Judd Trump, and this would be even tougher to take, I think, if he was to do the same, but there's no real evidence of it happening.
If he does come through, he has beaten Neil Robertson, although Robertson beat him at the Crucible. But to qualify for the Crucible, in the final round of qualifying last year, he beat Chris Wakelin, 10-8.
Eight.
Well, this is really difficult. Hand on the cushion rail. Close. Goodness, that was on its way as well. Same pocket as the red flew in the previous frame.
We saw yesterday, his dad gives very little away in the audience. He's a sort of stony face throughout, but he'll be obviously enjoying what he's seeing here.
Well, he's looking at the 3-ball plant, or even the 4th ball near the pocket playing a part. Oh, wow, what a shot. We saw a 5-ball plant, I think it was, last night. That was a gem. What if the red close to the pocket, he felt it might go in off that, but even better directly.
Eight. Nine.
It's another golden chance, but it was brought about by a
14.
very well worked plant, something more akin to a 9-ball pool or something, wasn't it? All those reds next to each other, all involved.
$15. 20. 21. 28.
Well, I don't think he's a kind of
29.
individual that will ever give up the cause. I mean, even in that last frame last night, it appeared he was going to lose to Mark Selby for all the world. So far behind, having led 4-1. But in the decider, it just felt like he was beaten, but he never saw it that way. And that's the reason he ended up getting there on the black.
36.
He's so annoyed,
Chadha.
so annoyed. He's got
36.
himself into good positions in a number of these frames. He can't hit those very hard. There's not a lot of pocket from those angles. I think he was a little concerned that he couldn't slip round the back of the black and play it in the same pocket as this red. I think he knew he was going into it in some way. You see a scoreline like this, 5-0, and, you know, not impossible it could be a whitewash, but this match has not really been a typical whitewash. He's got chances in a number of the frames, Ishpreet, almost all of them, in fact.
He's actually had the highest break. I mean, that may change here, but he's 57 in frame 3. He's the best of the match. Not enough, unfortunately.
If he's to lose, he will not be the first player to get a great
60.
result and have a reaction the next day. It's all part and parcel of playing and maybe learning the ropes at this game.
Yeah, it's one of those, if he loses,
17.
he'll be very disappointed today. But in a couple of days, he'll certainly take the positives. It's a major step towards staying on tour. This is his second year of his 2-year card. But right now, it's out of his hands as to whether he'll return to this match table, where he's entertained us this week, particularly last night.
That wasn't the cleanest of pots, but it's okay.
Search 2. Search 3.
Well, what moments these are for 20-year-old Yize in only his second ranking event semi-final. Exercised a few ghosts with the defeat of Judd Trump yesterday after what happened in Saudi Arabia recently. And as his father watches on,
39.
it's in his hands to get this one now and set up a meeting with either Neil Robertson or Chris Wakelin on Sunday.
40.
He was
46.
slightly in between shots on this. I don't think he played on the red through the gap down into the top pocket there, but that's what he's faced with.
Yeah, it's looking over now.
He's
54.
very deep in thought, probably thinking through some of the shots. And like you say, it'll take him a couple of days to think about all the good things this week. For now, he's just feeling that today has been a real letdown for him.
$55.
So he needs this black and then the last red to end Ishpreet Singh Chadha's great run in this English Open.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of a tournament, everybody but one person has gone home defeated. And there's still some positives to be taken out of all of those. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I can't think that he played it quite that way to finish on the red to middle. His father is so deep in concentration, he's not taking anything for granted.
Well, you can't in this game, but the fact is this red is match ball for a place in the final. Well played, Yize.
Yeah, very good. And, you know, it's not been
68.
absolutely lights out snooker from Yize. He's struggled. He's got better as the match has gone on. But how could you be critical of a victory by this margin in a semi-final?
73.
So Yize becomes the 14th Chinese player to reach a world ranking event final with the chance to become the 7th to win one. It was one-sided. Ishpreet Singh Chadha struggled, but Yize has done it. The 20-year-old puts himself through to the English Open final.